Sonam Raghuvanshi has killed her husband Raja. ISH News has already shared this, sharing the chain of events. In recent updates, which is filled with twists and turns of intense manner. Sonam originally was a very bright and talented student. She excelled in her studies. She aspired to pursue MBA and later secure a good job. However, Sonam's family suggested otherwise. Instead of working outside, she was encouraged to support her brother Govind in managing the family's plywood business. Suggesting for her support, she accepted. And as time went by, she met Raj, who worked in the father's business, handling accounts and billing. The police suspected that's how they started their romance and hatched the murder plan to kill her husband. If you recall, the couple had visited Meghalaya for their honeymoon, and after unable to reach them, Raja's brother Vipin had visited Shillong, who was accompanied by Govind, Sonam's brother. They both had visited Shillong because they were worried about the disappearance of the new married couple. So they spoke to the Shillong police, filed a missing persons report. They were there for a week. The brothers were busy locating the couple. Govind's business was based in Indore. Raj kept calling Govind, which came under Vipin's notice. Vipin felt that this was genuine because Raj was sharing about business updates while Govind shared that he was worried about his sister's disappearance, trying to locate them. So Raj should go ahead and handle the business. Vipin realized that the conversation was genuine and did not suspect Raj's involvement in any suspected nature. Both the brothers were worried about locating the sister and the husband. Moving on, there was a fearful suspicion looming in the eldest brother of Vipin and Raja, whose name was Sachin. He suspected that if Sonam and Raj were in a relationship, why did they not marry? He suggested the police to look into this. Sonam's mother should be aware of this, who was suggesting Sonam to marry quickly. Sonam was a Manglik. Mangliks are connected to the planet Mars. It refers to people who are born on various days. If you are born on Monday, if you're born on Wednesday or Saturday, which are connected to various planets. So in Sonam's case, she was a Manglik whose marriage becomes difficult. She has to marry somebody who's a Manglik as well. Marrying a non Manglik is inauspicious. She found Raja, who was also a Manglik. So Sonam's family approached Raja's family for marriage. And the family spoke and they agreed, considering both were Mangliks. However, Sonam decided that since they both were Manglik, she would kill Raja to remove her Mangal Dosh. That was her belief. If her Mangal Dosh was removed, then she could marry Raj, whom she loved. She would show to the world that she did not know that how he died. He jumped from the cliff. That was her plan. The brother suspected the mother to be involved in this plan and told the police to check. The police agreed to investigate further. Sonam's father, on seeing Raja's body, was distraught. He was accompanied by Raj, who expressed grief. The father was worried about his daughter's state. Is she safe? And he was filled with complete grief. The father could not believe that Raja, who was like a family to them, even though he was an employee, he could be involved with his daughter? He had no idea of this, the father said. Raj claims that he had no idea and was not part of the murder. The police says otherwise, as they had questioned the three assailants thoroughly. Raj and the three assailants were childhood friends. When Sonam and Raj wanted to marry, they were finding out a way how to kill Raja. So they called the three childhood friends over coffee and discussed how to murder Raja. Once the plan was set in stone, Sonam paid 50,000 rupees, which would cover travel costs, stay, etc. in Meghalaya. So the plan was set in motion. During 17th to 18th May, they took a train from Indore to Delhi, and through Rajdhani Express they went to Guwahati, while the couple travelled to Meghalaya by air. During the final days, Raj backtracked and wanted to cancel the murder plan. He shared this with his friends, and friends began to question him. The friends said that since Sonam had already covered the travel costs, they might as well visit Meghalaya for leisure. Raj agreed and supported the decision. Over time, the friends also felt uncomfortable with killing Raja. They shared that they would not go ahead with the plan. However, Sonam promised and tried to convince by paying 15 to 20 lakhs. They agreed out of greed. And so all of them went to Meghalaya. The plan was being executed. Sonam's family was still in a state of shock. They couldn't believe that Raja could do this. He has broken their trust, somebody who's very close to the family. The thought of killing in itself is a distraught thought. Now that Raja was killed, Sonam pretended to be super dramatic. She reached Gazipur all the way from Meghalaya. She claimed that at 2:30 a.m. she was at a dhaba and spoke to the owner of the dhaba, whose name was Sahil, and asked for his mobile phone. She shared that she was robbed and her husband was killed. She was unconscious and does not know how she landed here in Gazipur. She called for her brother, and her brother came to her. Upon further investigations by the police, the whole narrative has been changed. During 16th to 17th May, Sonam and Raj were on a very long phone call. It started from 9 in the night to 3 in the morning. Where was Raja? Sonam at that time was at her home. That's how she was able to speak throughout the night. The police had phone records. What would the nature of call be during the 6 hours? On 11th May, she married Raja, and then speaking to another man on 16th May for 6 hours, to somebody who just manages billing, the nature must be different. So on 16th May, Raj had invited his friends for a coffee on 17th May. So this plan merges very well to execute a murder. Sonam was very hurriedly asking to plan for honeymoon. Raja wanted to take his time and visit his relatives. However, Sonam had a different approach. She was pushing to leave for honeymoon immediately and wanted to go to Meghalaya instead of Kashmir. Raja agreed. Sonam planned everything. did not share any details with Raja. She made all the reservations from hotel to travel, everything she managed. But there was no information on their return journey. There was only information on their onward journey. So, this also supports the fact that she was planning to murder. There was no information with the family on where they were going. The family had no clue. Neither did Sonam's family knew about this, nor did Raja's. Third, Sonam, while she packed for her things, she told her husband to also pack for the gold jewelry because it looks good on him. So she said. Sonam left from her parents' place directly for the airport, and Raja also left directly from his parents' place for the airport. As Raja was leaving, the mother inquired, "Why are you wearing such expensive jewelry, whose value is almost 10 lakhs?" Raja said that her wife insisted, so which is why he was wearing it. The mother agreed. What was the reason for wearing such an expensive jewelry? Sonam planned this. She could blame it all on robbery. That was her plan. As they arrived in Shillong and stayed at the hotel, they had made no reservations on 22nd May. So then they decided to go to a nice hills, and because they had luggage, they kept that luggage in that homestay, and they told the owner that they would collect it once they return. Over there, the murder took place and nobody returned to take the bags. The police checked the bags and saw that they found Sonam's Mangalsutra and rings. Why would Sonam let go of Mangalsutra? It clearly shows evidence to that she wanted to kill. Shockingly, reports suggested that Sonam had Plan A and Plan B ready for murder. It meant that she was without love for her husband, a pretty faced girl of demure nature, but wanted to kill her husband. She had everything in place. The plan A was to kill her husband during the trek. In case that failed, plan B was to push her husband off the cliff. That's what she had thought. Such a terrible thing. Now, when the whole murder was executed, Sonam and the three assailants ran away from Shillong and they travelled all the way to Guwahati. The reports do not share whether she travelled by taxi, by Uber, Ola, bus. No such thing was shared. When they reached Guwahati, they took a train to Indore. They all went separate ways so as to avoid detection. Did Sonam go to Ghazipur? No, she went to Indore. The two brothers, Govind and Vipin, who were in Shillong, Sonam was already there in Indore. She was hiding in a hotel with her lover Raj, where they hatched a plan to go to Ghazipur, UP. Why Ghazipur, UP? That's because it was Raj's birthplace. So he suggested that she go there, and that's where she pretended to be unconscious. She shared that her husband was killed and she was robbed. Okay, but there the police immediately caught Raj on 9th of June, and within 1 hour, Sonam also surrendered. This is an unbelievable coincidence. There's another new angle to this story. After killing her husband Raja, Sonam took 15,000 rupees from his wallet and gave it to the three assailants to showcase that this was a case of robbery. And also she had paid them off with 20 lakh rupees. It is not clear whether it was in cash or an online transaction. So the police checked for UPI transactions and noticed that this was somebody else's. Whose was it? It was Jitendra Raghuvanshi's. Jitendra Raghuvanshi was a maternal cousin whose UPI ID Sonam was using. Police intervened and asked whether Jitendra was involved in the murder plan, but he denied. Jitendra was also part of the business of Sonam's. He also took care of expenses and he worked with Raj. They thought that the police suspected that this was a case of Hawala. However, this was later refuted, and the family was direct in sharing that this was a normal case of purchasing. And how did then they make transaction of 20 lakhs? This created suspicions. Sonam's brother Govind visited the in-laws and expressed sympathy to the parents on Raja's death. The whole family thought something would have happened to the couple, but his own sister killing their son was an unbelievable thought. The mother shared on social media where Govind expressed deep apologies and love to the family. He couldn't believe that this could have happened. They thought the two families coming together would make into a big, happy family. When Sonam had called her brother, sharing that she's in Ghazipur and in a desperate state, when he reached there within 2 minutes, he figured out that she was the one who committed the murder. There is no support, no sympathy for her. He felt terribly bad, and he assured that he will stand as a witness against his sister. And the whole family has decided to cut ties with Sonam. He shared with Raja's mother. Raja's mother could not believe this. Sonam, who looked of demure nature, a pretty girl, and she considered Sonam as her daughter. But the fact that she killed her son, she couldn't come to terms with. The mother had suggested that it's better that they marry next year, but on insistence of Sonam's mother, they decided to marry early. What was the point of killing Raja? They could have just not married. How will I get another son? I will not get Raja back. Sonam should get death penalty for this. Equal justice for both the children. Now, in connection to Raj's family, they couldn't believe that this story was being shared. They claimed that Raj had no involvement with this murder. They had no idea that he was involved or in a relationship with Sonam. He would go to work and come back, that was it. The fact that he is now arrested has made them uncomfortable. Raj is responsible for taking care of his family. He has 3 sisters. Now that he's arrested, how will the family provide for itself? The family also visited the crime branch and wanted to see the brother, but the police denied them access. They were not allowed to see their brother. Raj's mother has said that Raj is not guilty. I had no idea about this. She had no idea that he was even involved in such a case. Since the father's death, Raj only completed studies until 10th and provided for the family. He wanted to marry, but insisted that first the sisters should get married. He never shared anything of such nature. We are of underprivileged family. We don't know who is Sonam. This is the truth that we are sharing. The fact that Raj is an accomplice in the murder cannot be true. Somebody must have tried to trap him. Please find justice in this, shared the mother. Raj is not at fault. The investigations are ongoing. Now, after this whole incident, everybody's talking about the Meghalaya honeymoon murder. Meghalaya government is not happy. Meghalaya's minister Alexander Lalu has said to both Sonam and Raja's family that they must openly apologize for tarnishing the image of the state. Otherwise, they would file a case of defamation if they do not do so. We do not want to be associated with murder. Their own internal issue of in Indore has now come to Meghalaya, and people will now recognize Meghalaya as murder state, which we do not want. They should immediately apologize publicly. Let's see for more updates.